read it out. Okay. The case was brought to the attention of Mahatma Gandhi, who set up a commission to investigate. The commission traveled with Santi Devi to Mathura, arriving on 15th November 1935. There she recognized several family members, including the grandfather of Lugdi Devi. She found out that Kedarnath has neglected to keep a number of promises he had made to Lugdi Devi on her deathbed, right? She then traveled home with her parents. The commission's report, published in 1936, concluded that Santi Devi was indeed the reincarnation of Lugdi Devi. Okay, and then two further reports were written at that time. The report by Bal Chandra Nahata was published as a Hindi booklet by the name of Punarjanm Ki, I don't know, like that is in Hindi. In this, he stated that whatever material that has come before us doesn't warrant to conclude the Santi Devi has former reincarnation. Just a minute. Indra Sen and then devotee of Sri Aurobindo in an article. The further report based on the interviews concluded in 1936 was published. The 1950, just a minute, it's a long story. Yeah. When she was interviewed by Lan Stevenson and K.S. Rawat, in this interview, she also related her near death experience when Lugdi Devi died. In 1997, a last interview took place only 4 days before her death on this. In stature, yeah. When Stature Lonerstrand, a Swedish author and critic, heard about Santi Devi's claim, he travelled all the way to India from Sweden to expose the case as a fake. However, after a detailed investigation, he concluded that Santi Devi reincarnation case is the only fully explained and proven case of reincarnation has been.
You can you can see there might be something called better citation needed.
Just a minute. What like? No, that is
Better
what like
citation
the
needed or
the no the
better source
last
needed.
see the last statement of that the Sweden, I think, who's that, like when stature,
Stevenson.
right, not Stevenson, stature Loner Stand, a Swedish author and critic,
Mm-hmm.
right, so even he
Mm-hmm.
accepted that.
So is it something like a better source needed or better citation needed written over there?
Better source is something like I would say, Aman, at that moment, like we are not well equipped that no, where you can say we could have the
No,
scientific.
no, no, no. It is no, no, no. It is not like that. See, Wikipedia is administered, or Wikipedia content creators, or the people who add the things. They are people from like they are not like the company's employees. So sometimes like the contributors are also there, like verified. So you cannot trust Wikipedia all the time. So when there is a better source needed or something, which means that it is you can doubt about it. So sometimes what people will do, they will add up information without proper citation, and this algorithm or some people who report it, then they will think about it, and because of that reason, Wikipedia sometimes shows like better citation needed because this cannot be considered true because of the lack of resources or lack of evidences.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
even though the 14th Dalai Lama has stated his belief that it would be difficult for science to disprove reincarnation. Okay, so
Yeah, but it would be if it is that possible or it is very much possible, then it should be easy for people who are claiming that. Then it should be easy for them at least. If it is see, like when you're claiming something, it is not someone else's responsibility to disprove it.
I think
There
in
is no
court,
point
like
in
if you
doing
are
that.
in court, if you are saying it is wrong, so it's your responsibility to prove it is wrong, right? Because the person who is right, he has already said that this person is innocent. If I'm not wrong, Aman, like in a court, if you go in a court, if there's a person,
Hmm.
like if one person is claiming that he's innocent, right? So the person who is saying like
Hmm.
no, he's a murderer. So the person who is claiming that he's a murderer, he has to prove it like he's a murderer.
That's what I'm saying. The one who is claiming, he should give the evidences. It is not like somebody else. Okay, suppose if I'll say this
No, no,
thing,
see, see,
maybe
see.
I'm repeating this again. I
Mhm.
guess you didn't get the meaning of whatever you are saying. your own. So if I'm claiming this thing, like suppose in 1950s alien invaded Earth, I'm saying this thing. Uh, so I'm saying this thing, and you came and you said this thing. Okay, prove it that aliens visited the Earth. But just because I am not able to prove it, I'll say okay, prove me that they never visited. So this is called this logical fallacy, that I, just because I'm unable to prove and you are unable to disprove, I'll shift my responsibility to prove this thing onto you. And you also can't disprove it. There is a famous thought experiment of Bertrand Russell as well. If you know, he's a British philosopher, uh, around like 1900s. So he said this thing, like suppose I'll claim this thing, like there is a teapot swirling in the universe, like revolving in the universe, in between Earth and Mars orbit. So a teapot, which is like very minute object in front of universe or the space in between Mars and Earth. So he said this thing, like I'll say this thing. There is a teapot swirling in the universe in between Mars and Earth. So and it is there. So can you disprove it? You can't disprove it. So but because of that thing I am true, I'm, or whatever I'm saying is true. It cannot be. So he said this is logical fallacy, that when you are saying something, so it is that Bertrand's responsibility to show the evidences or to prove. It is not like somebody else you can say him that okay, show me that it is not existing. It is because it is logically impossible or very impossible to find the space in between the Mars and Earth, and to check every inch of the universe. So when you're claiming something, so it's that person's responsibility to show the proper evidences. And when you're claiming something extraordinary, it is your duty to give the extraordinary evidences as well, so that it can be believed, not just random intuition or random personal experience without any. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Rocky Bhai is just putting some no, like you will see some nice scenario, right? Where you can just try to correlate with that. Okay, understood. Hi Sienna. Hi Sienna. How are you?
And
Hi.
there is one more thing as well about the Stevenson. It says this like Ian Stevenson was a Canadian-born US psychiatrist, author of around 300 papers and 14 books on the same thing, reincarnation. 20 cases of suggestion. However, see, scientists. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Am I
you're
audible?
audible.
Hello.
You're audible. Audible.
So it says this. However, scientists ignored Stevenson's work and saw him as quoted earnest, dogged, but ultimately misguided, led astray by gullibility, wishful thinking, and tendency to be science where others saw superstition. So it is like a kind of confirmation bias. So he extensively worked on this thing. So he was just finding the ways to prove his thing. That how can I confirm my own belief and to enforce it on others as well.
Actually, no.
So
I'm
it
also.
says this thing. Wishful thinking means like and tendency to see science where others saw superstition. So when people talk about reincarnation, it is like unless you are not very much that kind of person, so you will think that this is misconception or like there is no evidence about it, but he was seeing science in it. So they criticized him for this thing.
Okay.
One more paragraph. So we see the people who investigated the case of Shanti Devi either had motive or objective to certify that her case is a real incarnation. Even if we consider that the researchers had an honest intent to find out the truth, they often asked leading questions and their conclusions were undermined by confirmation bias, where cases not supportive of his hypothesis were not presented as counting against it. So whenever you will read this kind of thing, just googling, before googling, also write critical analysis. So whenever you are seeing this thing like Shanti Devi reincarnation case, just while searching, just type critical analysis as well. There might be someone who wrote about this thing as well. You might get some other details which Wikipedia cannot provide.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm also referring the Wikipedia because when you said no, so I'm also referring. But since Wikipedia is so long, so maybe it would take so much time to read it out so that I can tell you the nitty gritty of this case.
I read that page. I read that page. Even whatever I am reading, the transcript of an interview is also there, and there are some answers given by her wrongs as well.
Okay.
So it is like when you are researching, you will just show the things which can prove that your belief. So and you will not show the. And I guess same thing like when we talked about Ramanujan and his beliefs about this deity. So this in this video, I guess you were there, or no, Nitish was there. So when people say this thing like Ramanujan, he was having these dreams of mathematical calculations, and he was having these intuitions about like just that some devi or like some goddess. She was telling her all the thing. So and in that video, that guy he said like some of the formulas he gave, those formulas were also wrong, but we don't talk about it because it will lead to the doubt that how can a formula given by the god could be wrong. So it is like we just pick the evidences that suit our own narrative.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hi, Sienna.
Hello, Rohan.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing?
A
Yes,
long time
I'm
no
fine.
see.
Yesterday I came. Don't say long time, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, what's going on?
We are just talking about reincarnation, and we are just because like initially we discuss on a topic, then we just try to have some chit chat and gossips and all. So as of now, we are talking about reincarnation. Do you believe?
Yes, like, I have no thoughts right now. Reincarnation, incarnation. Sorry. Is it fine? Why you were silent?
No, 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 that is okay. Actually,
It's
uh,
beyond your expertise and it is absolutely fine.
yeah, because actually I'm referring, some like when Aman said like he's reading out, so I thought I should also Google it out because I also want to even I
Mhm.
can just
No,
read
no,
the.
I just learned many like Buddha and Mahatma and everything like in my study. But right now I have no thoughts. So yeah, it's better to not propel some thoughts which is unnecessary created by me. Yeah. So, uh, but you
Uh,
guys were
yeah, so
talking like something
one
which.
statement, Aman, I would like to read. So it is, I think there was a like, who is that? Like, let me tell you, because if we are talking about, so we should talk about no other facts as well. So the page name is Carlos Bowman, the past life theory, right? And I think the one of the guy like who was the part of that investigation. He said that I close my story of Santi Devi with the remark of Dr. Stevenson, landing authority of reincarnation, who said I also interviewed Santi Devi, her father, and other pertinent witness, including Kedarnath, the husband claimed to
Hmm.
her previous life. And my research indicate that
Hmm.
she made at least 24 statement. She made, listen it again, she made 24 statement of her memories, and that matched the verified facts. She claimed 24 statement on all of her 24 statement that matched and that verified. Right. So again, like I mean, I'll say like what you said, I
And
understand.
do you remember the
But
recent?
if someone
Do you
claim
remember the recent story?
which one?
Do you remember the recent story? The small kid, who addressed all the mutt of Buddha and everything. I mean, it was a guy, the small baby, and he was born in what Nepal. I mean, it's been a year. I think it was just in the news. and he was
Okay.
talking about everything what he has done. Means he was like the small guy, a small kid who was having the age of 2 3 year when he started speaking only, and he just said everything about the Buddha, or like every single thing what he has done, where he has done. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it was just
I would explore. I
amazing
would
to
explore.
listen.
Like, when did you get this news? I would explore on internet. Can you just tell me when did you get this news? Sienna, when did you get
It's
this news?
been a year.
Acha,
It's
okay,
been
it's
a
been
year. I thought, huh?
okay,
It's been a
okay,
year.
okay.
It's been a
Yes,
year.
Aman, but
So
like just one fact
I
which I
have
said,
seen in
like,
news only.
yeah, one fact, like, even though on
Yes.
this Wikipedia page it has mentioned that she stated 24 statement, and all of her 24 statement that matched and verified the facts, right? So again, I don't know, like, it's hard to
No, like there was
hard to
another
ignore.
case
No, no,
in
no.
2000, in 2014 or 15. One kid, he was a boy, maybe 8 or 9 year old, and he also claimed many things which were matched. But there is no like research, or maybe like all the things which were claimed. Maybe it is his personal illusion, or maybe his experience. But yes, like there are many such events in which the claims that person made were verified.
But Jagu, 24 statements, if you
Yeah.
just do, and all those 24 statements are verified, then again, like, isn't it uh, like, even though, like,
No.
well, if I talk about, like, our judiciary, so even judiciary, if something is verified, something is matched, on the basis of that, then judgment comes up, right? So
This cannot be even a question for the judiciary. It is completely. If someone will file petition, they will call it senseless. They will not entertain this kind of things.
that is what, like, it is a
Do you
dark.
really think it is possible?
Arey man, that is what I'm reading and I'm trying to understand, because if it is something, it is everywhere on the Wikipedia, on the Google. Even I just search Santi Devi, you won't believe. I can see, like, certain, you could say, pages, and those pages, like, no, it's like, there was a great coverage on it.
Like people, they are hungry for views. If you type her name, you might find hundreds of video on YouTube. They will like this kind of sensational things will always give the views, and they will just tell the things which are already in public, and they'll make money out of it. But I don't think like this thing should be believed as per my understanding, because this is completely like I don't even want to use the word. Okay.
Mm. No, no, no worries. It was just like, no, we thought, okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay, so there is one blog, though I don't consider blogs are blog should be the source of your information, but there is like rationalist Debashis WordPress. So so you can just type rationally Debashis in front of this case, and there is a long article about it. So he's also written about all the religions. Like if you, oh, there is also article about Sai Baba, and how Sai Baba exposed Satya Sai Baba. No, 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 not Sai Baba. That's Satya Sai Baba, which like he used to claim this thing like I can create this like he used to create this kind of things like Satya Sai Baba. Do you know this guy? He is from South India, and he used to make gold chains or gold watches out of nowhere. See, it is just like sleight of hand. Some people say this thing, and because at that time there were no proper documentation was available. But even today, like if you just search his name, Satya Sai Baba exposed, like you will find hundreds of videos. He was nothing but uh, uh, a craftsman, or you can say a person like what do we call a magician who can who will have different objects, and who will make some, like suppose you will make some kabutar from raw. a paper mash. So he will hide it somewhere else, but it is just like he will take advantage of our vision. That like somehow he'll escape from it, and it is her skill, it is his skill. So in the same way, like it is in that blog you might find something more. So there are some articles as well, like about rationalist Devashis, or he criticized different religions. Also, some people who are claiming some superstitions,
Mm-hmm.
and he has also given transcript of the interview as well. I don't want to read it, but the way you were saying the 24 questions, so he has given the each answer and the like the comment on it as well. Like when cousin Kedarnath Kedarnath met Shanti Devi, he asked that, "Do you recognize me?" So she said yes. Then he said, "What is my name?" She said, "I don't know." So comment, Shanti Devi didn't know. Then how do you recognize me? So she said, "You are my husband's cousin." So he said, how to do you know that, since you can't tell my name? So she said, I recognized your features. So he said, "What is the name of your husband?" So she said, "Chobe Kedarnath." So comment. Then some of the things like so you can read it your own. You might get some.
Yeah,
You will
yeah,
get some
of course. There are a
information.
couple of pages which I have got. Like maybe later, I know, Aman, like what you are saying. Like on the basis of you can say science. If you would ask me, just provide any proof on the scientific way. So there's no proof, right? But like what I can read out on the
No, no, no,
Wikipedia.
not no proof. No, 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 no. This is this is not like science cannot prove. It demands proof. It is not like science should prove
No, no, no.
something.
I'm not saying
When you
science
are claiming
should
something,
prove
science
something.
demands
As
proof. Science, yeah, yeah.
as we
No, no,
all
no, no,
know.
no. You are not getting my point. Listen, listen. You are not getting my point. It is not like science cannot prove it. It is not responsibility of science to prove it. Science demands proof that, okay, you are claiming this thing, then give me the proof. So it is not like someone will claim this thing, and so randomly I can say this, like I can become kabutar next day, but I will not provide the proof.
Mhm. But at
And
the same
okay,
time,
science will
we
not
need to
able to.
also understand like if you just search on the Google like limitation of the science, so you would find like even though these are the things where like people say these are the
Of
limitations of
course,
science, right?
science will. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But those limitations are also scientific. Like if you talk about this, the quantum theory, quantum mechanics, or in physics or in universe, we cannot figure out some of the things because it is our because of our limited understanding. But it is like they say this thing, like science will always tell the first word about something, not last word. So when people from scientific community they say things, so it is not the ultimate word about something. There might be something new, but just because there might be something new, we cannot mold our thinking on the basis of speculation. Oh, this thing will happen in the future, so right now I'll change my whatever the available facts, and I'll change my feelings according to it. So just because, so suppose the Newton, he invented gravity in 1600s, like 1700s, and Einstein, he gave the different things about the gravity in 1910. So should people, but still between 1600 to 1900, people were believing in the gravity, right? But so they were not like, okay, Einstein is going to invent a different form of gravity, so because of that thing, we should not believe in Newton's gravity. So this is absurd logic.
And scientists can't be biased. Like, do you think, Aman, or scientists can be biased or cannot be biased?
It depends on what is so it's sometimes like it depends, but it is not like a scientist can be biased and he will not be pointed out by scientific community.
Why? Because they are human being, and every you can say
No, no,
no,
of course. I'll not say this thing like he cannot be biased, but there might be. So right now, I just told you that Ivan Stevenson, he was a psychiatrist from USA, Canada. He worked extensively on this reincarnation. So people or the scientific community said he was having this presumption in his mind that I just want to prove this thing. So he conveniently ignored the facts which will disprove this thing. So he was working with this thing, like the confirmation bias was in his mind that I just want to prove it, so that like, and so but people they criticize him, like they said this thing, like people who consider it is a superstition, he was considering this thing as a science. So they can be biased, but not. I don't think like all scientific community will be biased, because even in the history there were some claims made by some of the scientists, and they were ultimately like wrong, and people they called out the people from science. So it is not like people they will tolerate. Now, you might have heard this Brian Greene, or there is one the astronomer as well, the Neil deGrasse, and I forgot his name. So they fight, like even like they call out each other's name. Like you cannot prove your string theory. So it is not like they'll tolerate something or someone's opinion which is out of intuition and there is no backing by the evidence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, understood, understood. Like what you're saying, I'm not saying like no, of course, like we are in the 21st century and everything we try to correlate with the science, right? And but as I said, like still, this is my belief. This is my belief. This is my personal opinion. I still think like there are certain area where science hasn't, you could say, developed. Like one of them, like when we talk about this, you can say the supernatural power who is just controlling the whole universe, or when we talk about spiritual, science cannot, no, science hasn't that much developed. And even when we talk
No,
about
no,
like,
no. The, like, what is spiritual? Like, what is spiritual which cannot
yeah,
tell the
see,
sign? Like,
see,
I didn't get your.
because I'm not the right person to tell you what is spirituality, because I have never experienced it, like the way people experience it, I have never experienced.
Like,
So
what do you like? Like, what kind of spirituality cannot be understood by the science? Or I didn't get your point. Like, what you want to say?
Science says spirituality is illusion.
yeah, that is what, like
Especially
science says,
modern
yeah,
spirituality.
science says it is an illusion, right, to spirituality. However, if you would connect with a spiritual person, any spiritual person, so then they would like what is their experience. So that like you can, maybe you cannot digest like what they would share with you.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. It is like, do you know Jayant Narayakar? He is a disciple of Fred Hoyle, who was involved in the black hole research. Do you know Jayant Narayakar? He was in IUCA, INCL, different things, different institutions. Do you know him, Jayant Narayakar? Hello.
No, no, no. Who's that? I don't know.
He's a scientist. He is a scientist, great scientist from India. He's a disciple of Fred Hoyle, who worked in this black hole thing. So what he said, what he did. So when you're saying something like person from spiritual community, he will tell something which you cannot, or which is hard to believe. So in the same way, like if you'll go to an astrologer and you are not believing in it, so of course when you will, so it is his duty to tell this thing. Or when you are going to person with this mantric, tantric, or sorcerer, so of course he will tell the things. Like he will not tell this thing like, oh, there is no existence of soul. You should not come to me. So what he did, the giant narrator, he gave some like, so it was like, he was, so he said this like, the astrologer. He gave this challenge to astrologers, because so what he did, he took the 50 the kundlis of like very intelligent people, or you can say established in their own field and having good IQ, and he took some like 50 the kundlis of people who are having Down syndrome or who are mentally challenged, and he mixed it up, and he gave this challenge like, just segregate it, or you might tell by the listening to, sorry, by seeing it, by seeing the kundlis, you can tell the like which kundli is of which person, or is at least if he is intelligent or he is not uh, like mentally sound. And nobody won that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is how they have this method, but we as a person we don't think much about it, because I don't think like any no one will believe in this thing like astrology, because Even like yesterday, I told this thing like Raghunath Mashelkar. I was watching one of his interview, and he told this thing like India just in 2014 sent Mars orbital mission to Mars in 2014, but still in India there are lakhs of girls whose marriage cannot happen because of they are having Mangal in their kundli.
Uh, I understand. I'm not talking about those, you can say, beliefs like which we have. I'm talking about if we say spirituality. So I hope you understand. Even though the
So
whole word, even
by
listen,
that
listen, listen,
logic,
listen, even the
by that
whole
logic,
word, even the
you
whole
can say this
word.
thing as well. Like you cannot explain astrology with science. So it can be applied to anything, which is very absurd. So we cannot explain. So can we explain or can we disprove astrology without science? So in the same way, like there are too many things which are which depends on the personal experiences or some of the abstract concepts, which is not responsibility of science to prove. It is like science questions. It questions like, okay, you are claiming this thing, then prove it. Otherwise, I will not accept.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, science can't accept, but peoples who experience the claims, like ancient Egyptians, if you read about the Egyptian civilization, so ancient Egyptians used to believe in reincarnation, and that was their experience or claims. And after that, before around 300 BC, Pluto and then Pythagoras, they claimed they said that the incarnation is. So it's all about their personal experience. Maybe they have experienced something. Or, yeah. So personal experience cannot be taken as scientific evidence, but it's all about the claim. It's all about the person who experienced that particular thing.
Mhm.
If you talk about the Aristotle, they say this thing like whatever he said was mostly wrong. Like people make fun of that person in the science, though they celebrate it as a father, him as a father of
Yeah,
zoology as well, or science as well. But
of course.
he's like fun, like like comically they say this thing like whatever Aristotle said it was wrong because the claims he made was like because there were something like there was one person else he said this thing like world is made up of water, and after that some people came they said like water plus so his this Aristotle he claimed this thing like world is made up of four or five elements like water, earth, then like Pancha Mahabhuta concept, that kind of thing, which is not true at all. It is like, uh, then what is point of having elements?
Chitjal
So
Pavak Gagan
it is they
Shamira.
were yeah. So it is like they were having very even like if you read in detail about Aristotle, like it's very absurd. Like they were believing. Uh, I cannot talk about this thing. It is something related to reproduction as well. So they made like literally foolish claims, but you can expect this thing because they were not having proper mechanism or proper instruments to understand the natural phenomenon. So it can be tolerated as they were like it is just like very primordial stage in the science. So it is tolerable at
Primitive.
that time. Yeah, primitive science it was, so it is not like we should criticize it,
Mhm.
but right now we are having proper things to examine the claims.
Okay, yeah, as you said, guys, like this is something individual, right? Individual maybe experience, maybe that person has experience. So, like, we do
That
not have.
experience could be illusion as well, but whatever it is, just unless has been scientifically proven, it cannot be considered as
It
evidence.
cannot be illusion. Like, see, how could you say Jagul? Just suppose Jagul, like, just think about it, like, no. So, just like, let's take an example, actually, okay? So, so there's a painting, right? There's a painting, and 10 people they are seeing from their perspective, and everyone they would experience in a different way that painting. Some of them they would
Yeah,
say beautiful, some of them they would say dreadful, some of them they would say yuck, some of them they would say stunning. Like every person would have a different experience about that, right? So scientifically you cannot no, you cannot just evaluate like what it is, because different people they are seeing from a different perspective. So it's an individual experience, you know, and that you cannot measure through the scientific way.
Yeah, yeah. Many things are like there are many things that varies from observation to observation.
See,
Like I,
see, Rohan. Okay, go on.
yeah, like there are many. If you see if you are wearing colorful clothes, so as a human, I can see you are wearing colorful clothes. But if you ask the same question to any buffalo or cow, so they can't see the same
No, no,
color.
see,
So
see, I'm just talking about the same set of people, like humans. I'm not saying like if there's a one painting, and
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'd like to reply.
and I would like if there are
Okay.
100 people, if you'd ask to those 100, right, and if they are pretty genuine, like no, if they have some sense about the painting, they are pretty genuine. Even some,
Yeah,
let's have a mixed crowd. Let's have a mixed crowd, and every would respond in a different
yeah,
way, like in a different right. So I would say, like, see,
yeah,
how do you observe the things? How do you experience it? It is an individual's observation and experience.
yeah,
It's not an illusion, like,
yeah.
no, that painting has
Oh,
created an illusion.
yeah, could be
illusion. Of
illusion or
course it
could
is.
not be
I'd
illusion.
like to reply.
Yeah, yeah,
Rohan,
Prish.
Rohan,
Yes.
I'd like to, yeah. So that's why there is difference between art and science. Whatever you give example, it comes under the example of art, and art is all about interpretation, and science is all about the thing which are based on the facts or evidence. There is difference. That is why there is difference between arts and science. Science is like I even remember the definition I heard in this in 813. So it says this like science is the study of universe in which all the facts depends upon the proof, and arts is all about the thing. Arts is like it is very abstract thing. It is not like even like history. There are different perspective to look history. So it is not like a one person or one school of thought can prove it all the time. Sociology, history, geography, like there are different subjects under arts. So, but these subjects are all about the interpretations or the personal opinions. So it is like they call it normative, which is based on the normative, which means based on the personal experiences or someone's expertise, they can talk about it, but it should not be considered as an ultimate opinion.
Understood, understood,
There
Aman.
might
But
be,
like,
Because
see,
yeah.
but
So
Aman,
that
like,
is why. So that is
but
why there is difference. The things when you said this thing like it cannot be illusion. It is all about experiences. So it is about experiences because it is abstract thing. So it is not like something which is objective fact, and it is not an even like people will make fun of it, like if someone scientist from scientific community he wants to do research about it, so it will not even fall under the discipline of science to study this thing, like I was reading this book only, this Richard Dawkins delusion. I'm not able to but yeah, this uh, Thomas Jefferson, or the person who was involved in this American Revolution, he quoted this thing like the study of God or theology should not be even a subject in the university. So no matter which religion is related to that thing.
okay,
but it should be like theology should be part of university. People should research more, like who are ultimate creator or if there is a creator or not. So these things should be researched.
So when I talk about this person, so Rohan, he was in 1700s. So he was that scientific, and we can see people around us.
hmm,
That's why we celebrate him, not somebody else or not some random person from some part of the world.
okay, okay, guys. I think we have talked a lot on this topic, right? So, which is good. But Aman, I'll read maybe as a host, like no, I'm riding at two boat at a time. Like
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, and I cannot
See.
focus on the Google.
I
But I would
uh-huh.
refer the Google, and I'll
Mhm.
go with that, and I'll come up maybe later to you.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
not
See,
come up
I don't.
with a science fact, but I'll just come up like about the investigator. What did they investigate? Who were part of that? And
This is what confirmation bias is all about.
no, it's not
You should read that.
confirmation
Like,
bias.
I don't, though I do not consider the blogs. Blog is a very good source to refer some of the things, but still you can read that blog. Like in front of Shanti Devi, you can just put Rationality Devashish. So he has
Arey man,
written
see,
good
I do
article
not
about this.
want to just see the one side of the coin. I just want to read the all side of the all dimensions, right? Maybe one, see, as a person,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way I want to articulate, I would articulate, right? But I just want to listen other thoughts as well, right? Because when you listen three or four
yeah,
thoughts, then sometimes you would understand like why this person said in a different way, this person said in a different way. Maybe you
yeah, yeah.
like you some,
So
maybe you are
critical.
optimistic. Listen, maybe you are optimistic, I'm
Mhm,
pessimistic, someone is realistic. So people have a different approach, so I want to listen all those, I just want to read out all those approaches.
mhm.
Okay, no worries. I
Okay,
think let's not bore to
but
others.
still it
Like
is
Siana is there, yeah, we'll discuss tomorrow. Hi Akanksha, hi Siana. So Sienna, we are done with this topic. I know it is quite boring. Not for you, for most of the audience. That is why like most of them they have left us because people at the late night they want to have chit chat fun. Right. So no worries. So I think now I can unpin this topic. So Sienna, how are you, Sienna? Are Akanksha, why did you change your DP? Hi
What?
that
Akanksha,
was a good day.
I don't.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in lobby, I can see a different DP, the previous one, which was beautiful. However, in comment section, I can see a different DP, you know, us.
Really? Is it not changed in open?
But I don't know, like maybe from my lenses, maybe it is an illusion, maybe because we're talking about incarnation. Maybe my eyes has still captured those previous photographs. So, is it? It could be happen, Aman.
It depends because I can see the sunset DP
Uh,
only.
uh, uh.
Sometimes it will happen. Like some
I'll be
people will
back.
see the previous
Are
DP,
you need not to be back.
and some
Stay with
people.
us, Akanksha. No, please. Her profile is all black. Okay, Prachi is saying all black. Arey Prachi, I'm sorry, you are a physics researcher, right? So Prachi, even I would like to listen your thought. Like Prachi, you did not join us. I mean, guys, she's doing research. I think she has done PhD in physics.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, I'm at airport. Can't join now. No worries, Prachi, but I would like to listen because physics is all about.
Which branch of physics is her expertise?
Uh, I'll stay in chat section. Maybe she can tell. What is
Condensed
that?
matter.
Condensed matter.
I don't know.
Condensed matter. Okay.